The president says he will encourage public-private partnerships to help fund these improvements so taxpayers won't carry the entire burden. The question now is, will he get support that he needs to get it done?
And I know you want these job fixes in your district. I've seen all those ribbon cuttings.
Well, we've got the congressional panel with us tonight. Congresswoman Terry Sewell of Alabama, Congressman John Larson of Connecticut, and Congressman Jerry Connolly of Virginia. Great to have you with us tonight. I enjoyed visiting with all of you last night. You know, I come from, and I've spent a lot of time in the state of Minnesota, where a bridge fell down and killed 13 people. So when the president talked about this last night, I knew exactly what he was talking about from covering that. The other thing is, I bet I could go to Alabama, I could go to Virginia, I could go to Connecticut, and I could probably find infrastructure that needs to be upgraded, bridges that are probably compromised at this point right now. And I chose this story tonight for this panel because isn't this something that Republicans and Democrats can agree on? John Larson from Ways and Means, how could this be a roadblock?
It shouldn't be a roadblock at all, and everybody agrees in their district that there is a drastic need for us to invest in infrastructure. We know that from the president's address when he was citing bridges. Bill Schuster, who is taking on the Committee on Transportation, has talked about the importance and need for this. And I think there is a great opportunity for Congress to come together. In my own district, it's not only roads and bridges, but dike systems that we've identified since Katrina that need to be addressed. And as you know, Ed, and so eloquently say, this is what can put America back to work immediately and addresses these very important and critical issues of infrastructure.
Well, you know, we've got the firearms issues, we've got immigration reform. I mean, these are big issues. But the big elephant in the room right now is the economy. I mean, Terry, what could be done in Alabama?
Well, I think that the president was absolutely right. You know, when you do infrastructure improvements, you create jobs today that actually create the roads and bridges for economic growth and development. I know in Alabama we could use rural broadband. It's a real issue, being able to lay fiber optics as well as to improve our roads and bridges. There are lots and lots of projects that I could name that would benefit from the president's vision from last night.
Jerry, can Speaker Boehner get his party on board with this, or is this going to be?
I hope so. For the sake of the country, I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the president's original proposal in the Jobs Act about an infrastructure bank was really a wise one, because it's about pooling public capital and private capital together to improve the infrastructure of America.
Jerry Connolly, Congressman, can Boehner get anybody on board? Why not take a vote on this? Why not advocate for jobs? Why not advocate for infrastructure? I mean, doesn't this put the Republicans on the wrong side of the issue again?
Yes, and I was shocked last night that during that section of the speech, the Republicans sat on their hands. And yet, as the president pointed out, they're the first in line for the ribbon cutting when the infrastructure actually gets completed or built. Every district in this country is crying out for infrastructure investment. The key to staying competitive, education, R&D and technology, and infrastructure. And if we don't do it, I guarantee you the Chinese will.
Turning to the big deadline coming up, the sequester, the president tackled the issue head-on early on last night. Here it is.
The greatest nation on earth cannot keep conducting its business by drifting from one manufactured crisis to the next. We can't do it. Let's agree right here, right now, to keep the people's government open and pay our bills on time, and always uphold the full faith and credit of the United States of America.
But Congressman Larson, we got to hold the phone. Congress is going on vacation for a few days. We got this deadline that nobody's paying attention to. Your thoughts on that?
This is incredible. And this hostage politics simply has to end. And this move from crisis to crisis and then not showing up for work simply just exacerbates how the public already feels about Congress. Our leader, Nancy Pelosi, has proposed that we stay here and get the job done. And that's what we should be doing, putting America back to work, embracing the president's programs that he's laid out there. If you got a better idea, put it forward. But everybody, Democrat, Republican, and Independent, agrees the North Star continues to be, as the president said, to put the country back to work, invest in its infrastructure, create the kind of jobs that are going to grow this economy and deal with the deficit. We know that the deficit can be reduced directly by putting the country back back to work, something, Ed, that you've underscored for the last several years.
Well, it is about jobs. You got 67% of the American people agreeing with what the president's talking about on all of these issues last night. Congressman Connolly, you know, getting more revenue is really where it's at right now, unless the Democrats are going to give up the big three. How's this going to unfold?
Well, I think the Republicans are hard over on avoiding any kind of additional revenue enhancement. I think that's very irresponsible and almost condemns us to sequestration kicking in fully. As the president said, every one of these so-called crises is Congress's own making. This wasn't something imposed in the country. It wasn't something that occurred externally. It's something we created. And as John Larson just said, if you start the calendar from July through the end of the lame duck, we were out in recess for 15 of those 19 weeks.
Congresswoman Terry Sewell of Alabama, I want your reaction to the minimum wage going to $9 an hour. Is that something you could easily support, and how would it affect workers in Alabama?
Absolutely. I was really surprised to hear that the president actually said the $9. I was so thrilled. You know, at the end of the day, people want a living wage. And I know that in my district in Alabama, there's been poverty, and the opportunity to give a hand up, not a handout, is what this government should be about. And it's investing in our greatest resource, which is our people. Our people are our greatest resource. So I was really pleased to hear the president talk in terms of workforce development and training. I know that we're rolling out a project in my own district, Project Ready, that's just about using our office as a platform to teach a job readiness in our district.
Are the Democrats, I'll ask all three of you, are you walking away from the comment we're now a center-left country? Congressman Larson, your thoughts?
Absolutely not. This is the way that we need to govern. Progressively leaning forward, but understanding, as Roosevelt did, that you have to zig to the right and left, but you govern from the center, and you do that by investing in the American people, doing as the president said last night, making it in America, investing in our manufacturing base, this idea, the policies that he laid out with manufacturing hubs. This is what we need to do, Ed. All
right, I'm up on time right now, but I do want to get this in. Congresswoman Terry Sewell, all of you, thanks for being here tonight. On a personal note, Congresswoman Sewell, you brought a very special guest to the State of the Union last night. I had the honor of meeting this lady, and I think our audience would be interested. Her name is Patrice Price. What a history she has. She served as a nurse to the Tuskegee Airmen. Mrs. Price received a Congressional Gold Medal back in 2007 for her courage and service. She was also General George Patton's nurse. And really, that's what this country is all about. I'm glad she was there. Congresswoman Terry Sewell, thanks for joining us tonight along with